Hello and welcome to What Now with Hannah and Eric. I'm Anna.
I'm Eric, busting out of quarantine. No, not really. I'm just outside. I'm just in the car.
When you are desperate for alone time,
Yeah.
you will go anywhere.
This is Eric on the run.
That's right.
Watch out.
You can't see it, but he has bags packed on the.
Yeah,
Like I
I'm
just need a day.
hightailing it out of here.
Yes. Eric, what's your 3-word summary of?
All right. So
best?
what I've figured out is the 3-word summary is pretty easy when we stay in the same book, but when we kind of go book to book to book, a 3-word summary of all the scripture that we're going through is kind of tough. But my 3-word summary is God uses all, because I think there were a lot of different people and doing some not so great things and some really good things, and God finds a way to use everyone no matter what. So God uses all is going to be my 3-word summary for today.
I feel that. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
there you go. So what do you got?
Yeah, so mine is, why do that?
See, and I think these two summaries go together. Like, God uses all, and people hear about him.
Yeah.
And why do that?
Why would you? Why?
Just don't do that.
Don't
Yes.
do that. Yeah, I felt like that really summarized how I felt about the
There you
the
go.
whole thing.
I think that works.
Yeah. Okay. So, before we really get into this, catch-up tip.
Oh, I got one too.
Do you?
Yeah, I got one
me.
too this week. So I figured this out, and I don't know if I really support this catch-up tip, but you know what? It works. I switched. I don't know why, but I grabbed my Message version Bible and switched to reading that. And catch-up tip, read the Message version. It's a pretty quick, like you can get through pretty quickly. But my sub point with that is some of the parts I'm not a huge fan of how they're written. I think they kind of gloss over some things, or so it is a good catch-up tip to really catch up with some reading to get in the Message version and read through it. But I don't know how, like, I don't know. It's just not really my cup of tea to read it this way. But hey, each their own. But that's my catch-up tip is switch up your translations of the Bible a little bit. Maybe go Greek, Hebrew. Maybe,
Ooh, that would be fun. Want to add some more excitement? Although I don't know how you'd add more excitement to Judges.
I don't think that would be a catch-up tip. I think that would slow it way down. But
yes,
the Message version seems to speed up reading a little bit when you do that. So that's my catch-up tip. But be warned that it might not be for you.
I accept that. So fairly normal people talking about the Bible. So let's get into this.
What's your catch-up tip? Did you not have one? Did I throw you off guard with having one? Oh man, I'll take it.
I didn't even write it down. So when you said you had one, I was like, yes.
Awesome. I win. All right. Then
I contemplated for a while and then didn't put it in my notes. So
fairly normal people talking about the Bible.
Yeah. And then song. Done. It's our shortest one.
Love it. That was great. Didn't even phase it in.
Okay, awesome. So we took a look at a chunk of the Bible.
Yes.
We were in at least 4 different books this week.
Yes.
Granted, a couple of them were only a chunk of verses, but 4 different books. So we were in Judges, we were in Ruth, we were in First Chronicles, and we were in First Samuel. So, and then we went Judges 7 through 21, finishing out Judges, and then the book of Ruth, and then some chunks of First Chronicles, and just a small bit of the first chapter of First Samuel. So here's our recap.
Boom, hit it.
Okay. Forecasted victory, a lot of bad communication, the many son problem, mercy, Don't make promises you shouldn't keep. Accents can kill. Blessed child. The drama, Delilah and death, idols, idolatry, evil, retribution, right in their own eyes. Ruth chooses loyalty, good people, matchmaking, honored foreigners, lineage, childless. Well, we came to a nice ending there.
Can I have a bit of I'm gonna just shoot out a bit of confession.
Yes.
I am, and let's be honest, I don't think I dove into it wholeheartedly to begin with.
Yeah.
But the lineage breaks, totally glossing over at the moment. I need to like when it goes into it's really just flipping the page, yep, and then getting out of it. I just have to be
showed up on this one, Eric. There's books written about that guy.
Yeah, so just throwing it out there that I know I need to be better at that. But yeah, when it goes lineage, whoop, moving on. Catch-up tip. That's I think it was really funny that you put accents in there because I have it highlighted. Like, learn how to say the words. Like, make sure you got
because there's that whole joke where they're like, "Are you so and so? Is it Ephraim?" And then they killed them if they couldn't pronounce the word correctly because it was proof they were from the other tribe.
I know. But like, how many people did it take for them to be like, dude, just say it right. Just
say it right. We need to practice. If you're gonna cross over, practice saying this one word.
Get in a mirror or something and just start saying it. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean,
crossing borders, it's dangerous business.
And there was that. The jawbone of the donkey showed up. We still don't
we don't know if it was Balaam's donkey, but
yeah, but I think, like, if this was a Disney movie, I think there would have been some reference to.
Please don't ever make this a Disney movie. Okay, Samson. Can I just say Samson? So he's a judge of Israel, right? Yes. They're supposed to be the heroes.
Yeah.
He was like the type of guy that I thought, this is the guy you never want to invite anywhere because he just screws everything up.
Yeah. No, it's just like that.
It was so dramatic.
Yeah. It's like Baby Huey, just if it's going to be a wrong move, he's in on it. Like, he's going for it.
Oh, yeah.
Overreaction and just a lot. That's
like the section where his wife, who's being threatened, right? Like, they're going to kill her family. And so she tells them the answer to this riddle. Samson goes out, kills all those bad guys, and then goes home because he's angry at his wife. So her dad's like, well, I guess he's not going to marry her to someone else. Then he gets angry again, kills more people. Then they kill his wife. Then he's angry again because they killed his wife, and then he kills more people. There's just like, clearly his anger outlet is death.
That's what I'm saying. I think there needed to be some anger management classes, like just how to harness it. Yeah, so just something to get that aggression out would be appropriate. But yeah, that's where my God uses us all. I mean, he was and it's like, wow. You'd think God would move on from somebody at that point, but no, God stuck with him. But
if there's any proof of the Bible, God is gonna stick with you.
Yeah,
look at Samson.
And then I just had to put this, and all I wrote in my notes was Judges 21. Really, the wives one where we just talked about, just hide out and feel free to just grab women as they come through and take them as your wives.
Yes.
Really, this chapter needed to happen.
Did you ever see the movie Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
I have not.
It's old. It's like from the 50s or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they do this?
Pretty much. I was like, that movie is based off of this chapter of the Bible. They didn't have a festival, but they did go and steal some people.
Like,
it was a comedy.
All right, so weekly, get in Eric's head for a second, but it says right here, the elders of the congregation got together, a group of people got together, and this was the plan they came up with, and not one person was like,
should we?
Should we not? Yeah.
Sounds
So
good.
rate sandwich between your wonderful Deborah and Ruth is, you know what? Just hide out in the weeds and just take women. That's
There is
uh
this is like this chunk was a very big scope between good and evil. Like
yes.
even if you take a look like women of the Bible,
Yeah.
Delilah versus Ruth, two
Yeah.
completely different people.
That's just
One of them
living
was
different
not
lives.
great.
Yeah. One of them was not great. We'll let you be the judge on which one was not great. Hint, Delilah.
Yeah.
But
I did like so a couple of my verses that I wrote down were the moment when Gideon goes into so God tells him he's going to take out the Midianites. And so he sneaks into their camp, and he hears these two guys, two Midianites, and one of them's talking about this dream he had, and the other one interprets the dream there, and he's like, this means that the Lord is going to hand over the Midianites, basically them, to Gideon. And Gideon took that as, oh, okay, wow, God is really going to do this for me. And I was just kind of, and I'd heard people talk kind of about, I don't know if it was specifically this passage, but God can really speak to us through many different ways, even our enemies.
yeah.
Like even those people that you just cannot stand sometimes have wisdom for you that you need to take from because it was given from God. So
Well,
I
I
did
think
highlight that verse.
yeah, and I think it's just the importance of listening, just making sure that you're present and listening to what's going on around you. Don't get so caught up in yourself or in your world or in your situation that you forget to listen to what's going on. Because you
Yeah.
might miss something,
Yeah.
a big something in this case. But yeah.
The
So
Bible connects to itself. So Judges 8:24. However, I do have one request that each of you give an earring from the plunder collected from your fallen enemies, the enemies being Ishmaelites, all wore gold earrings. So what's crazy about this is Ishmael is, of course, the half brother of Isaac way back in the day. Abraham had some favoritism problems, took a second wife he should not have taken.
eh,
And this is generations down the road, and it really comes back to bite him. I mean, these are the descendants of his two sons literally killing each other.
we're
You know.
still holding on to it. Still.
So hey, favoritism has long-term effects, people.
Yes, yeah, you're not getting away from it. You're not getting away from it.
Yeah.
Oh man. But you know what was funny is I was just looking at this and I read through Ruth and maybe it's because I've read through it recently and I just got it. I did not take like I highlighted a couple things, but I did not take a lot of notes on Ruth. Wow, man. Sorry, Ruth. You were kind of a big deal. And I missed out, went right to First Samuel and started note taking again. Huh.
For me, I think, and there were two big principles that stuck out for me this week. When I say principles, I guess I mean concepts. The first one was actually in Ruth. So if you go to the almost the end of Ruth, it's the last chapter, it's chapter 4, verse 12, and it says, and the women are talking to Naomi, who's the mother-in-law, and they say,
Mm-hmm.
may the Lord give you descendants by this young woman who will be like those of our ancestor Perez, the son of Tamar and Judah. And what is so interesting, or what really stuck out to me, is I guess this is my Jesus verse,
Yeah.
because Tamar is a foreign woman who comes in. She was also a prostitute, came in, became part of the Israelites, was very honored. And then we have Ruth, who's also a foreign woman who ends up marrying into the Israelites, and she's very honored. And both of these women are part of Jesus's lineage through Joseph.
Yeah.
So what kind of sets this up for me is when you read the Bible, you read it as, especially the Old Testament. When you read the Old Testament, you read it as Israel is God's favored people. He basically hates everybody else. I mean, that's kind of how it comes across. But really, God does not hate everybody else. In fact, there are multiple times in the Bible where God says, it's not that you're really good. It's not that I'm favoring you. It's that you guys are literally the only people in the world who are even following me right now.
Yeah.
And so there we see these different moments even throughout the Bible, and specifically through Tamar and Ruth, where God brings foreigners in, which is really very much this preview of when Jesus comes in. He saves the entire world, all of the world, and then he tells his apostles, go out to the world to bring people to me. And so it's like a precursor to God showing us it's not just Israel, it's everybody who wants to follow him. So that's kind of what stuck out with me.
Well, and that's why I think it's the God uses all. It was my 3 words, because that's what you get to start seeing, is it's not just these selected few or these selected groups. It's when it's let in, when the opportunity is there, God uses everyone, and God shows that he'll use everyone. And this is where it starts showing up in broken people, in people that are outsiders, stuff like that. It starts showing up here in what we're doing. So I thought it was really cool. I know what struck me was just little wording, and I guess this might be a bonus of the Message Bible and kind of the wording of things. But when we got into 1 Samuel, just starting in chapter 3, it says the revelation of God was rarely heard or seen. So we get to see those moments where it was like, okay, God seems very distant. God seems pretty silent. And then I love it, because to start setting this up, it says in verse 19, around there, it's Samuel's prophetic record was flawless. Samuel is just a big deal, like
he is on point.
flawless record. Like he's working it. So I thought it was pretty cool, because we start seeing in Samuel that his record is flawless, but we're going to have people that are going to doubt here pretty quick in what he's doing. So like you can be the best Christian, you can have
people
all the answers and people are still going to question you. So don't get too comfortable, because it might happen. But yeah, so that was I thought that was really cool that even the Bible starts speaking about, hey, listen, right about now, God's not showing up. We're not hearing from God. So,
yeah. A couple of verses that I just kind of wrote down. One of them was Judges 14:6, where it says, it's talking about Samson.
Samson. Oh, see,
Samson.
you would have been killed right
there. Kind of like the phone.
This
was the pre-phone.
Yeah.
At that moment, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, and he ripped the lion's jaw apart with his bare hands. He did it as easily as if it were a young goat. That's a weird image. But but what I thought was, we are so enamored with superpowers, especially right now, currently, culturally. There's like superpowers all over the Bible, like walking on water, super strength, like the ability to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different things in here. If you really look at it, if you want to be a superhero, just get Jesus. Like that's all you need.
Yeah, you don't need gamma rays. You don't need another planet. You just need Jesus.
You just need Jesus. Think about that. Another verse, and I just thought this one was funny. It was going through different judges, and so it's talking about this one guy, and it usually gives us description about him. And all it says for this guy is his 30 sons rode on 30 donkeys, and they owned 30 towns in the land of Gilead. I was like, what?
Well, that's I made the note. I'm so glad we're on the same page, but I'm so glad you put that, because that's what I wrote. 30, and I circled it. I'm like, all right, I'm just putting a note in here for the number 30 and see where that. That was.
It was such a funny, just like random tidbit. Maybe they threw it in because it was weird.
Well, once again, the people who compiled this, I just think is great. Yeah, Samson, you did a lot of cool things. We're going to show that. Yeah, 30? Yeah. 30. Yeah, that works. All right, move on. Next
By the way, one time I saw this guy's sons on their donkeys.
Yeah, all right.
Coincidentally,
Yeah,
there were 30 of them.
put them in.
Yeah, just like
Put 'em in.
make a note.
Yeah, but yeah, some of them definitely. I would love to know a little more about some of these guys. They had to have done something,
Yeah, yeah.
but who knows?
Okay, so this
But,
is my last. This is my big one. This is my,
oh,
and it's like my wow verse, but it's not a good wow verse. It's a bad wow verse.
oh no.
Yes. Um. So you get into the end of Judges, right? I believe it's Judges 17 is where it basically has this random story of this guy, Micah, who
Yep.
hires a priest to basically take care of his idols. And it feels like a very random story because it doesn't say anything except for telling you what happened. Then it goes into Judges 18. Some people stole the priests and they stole the idols. But the significant part of these two chapters are what they lead into. And I think this is the big thing about reading the Bible through, because you're basically, you're seeing the big picture, right? So if you look at those chapters that feel just very, by themselves, it's just a little odd. And
Yeah.
then basically what you see is you go through it and it talks about later on, it says at this time Israel did whatever was right in their own eyes. And it's like these two chapters where it talks about this random guy Micah is like giving you an example of, obviously this is bad. It doesn't say that it's bad, but we know from reading all before this, idolatry is bad. And yet these people are just so laissez-faire about it, like they're just going through it and it's just like it's normal for them. And then it gets to the really bad one where this guy goes to Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, basically horrible things happen. And then there's this moment where all the other tribes get together and they say this, and it says in Judges 19:30, and this is my big verse. This is my big verse for this week. Everyone who saw it said, such a horrible crime has not been committed in all the time since Israel left Egypt. Think about it. What are we going to do? Who's going to speak up? And what is so crazy about this is because it was like it set it up, and it was like clearly bad things were happening, but it wasn't until this moment that the Israelites came face to face with the evil that was happening, and they're like, wow, it's never been this bad before. Like it was only when something truly evil occurred that somebody said something about it, and it got really bad. And then you get into the next part where the Israelites are going to take out the tribe of Benjamin. And what's interesting about this too is that these previous chapters, it doesn't say what God is doing, like when this atrocity happens, it doesn't say God intervene, it doesn't say anything, but we can clearly see he's not happy about it because he tells them they can take out Benjamin. Like he's like, yeah, you should go do it. This was really bad. I want justice. But in that, a bunch of the tribes die trying to take out Benjamin because they also are in this place of they're committing evil in their own lives, and they weren't hanging out with God either. They just couldn't even see it in themselves. So it was like this interesting dynamic of, number one, it's important to read through the Bible because you can see, like, the Micah chapter is not going to make sense unless you read the rest of Judges. It's just not. It's a weird standalone chapter that makes no sense by itself. But when you look at the full story of this is what sin was doing, like they were becoming numb to it. They couldn't see it in themselves anymore. It was just daily life. And it wasn't until something really bad happened that they realized they were sinning. And then it gets to this point, and just really what was a big deal for me was that line, who's going to speak up? Like, and this leads into my next step. Is there bad stuff happening in your friend groups, maybe in your family, in people around you, where maybe it seems little right now, so you're not saying anything, but are you going to speak up, or are you going to let it get to the point where it hits that atrocity where everybody's just so shocked they're like, I've never seen anything this bad before? So I think that's what hit me.
And I think, because I have it right here, and once again, so all right, I'm apologizing to the Message version because you know what? Sometimes it does. I'm apologizing right now to my Bible, but what it
So,
says, the way it says that is think about it, talk it over, do something. And like that's the biggest thing is like if you if it's if you want to think church, you want to think people group, you want to think family, like really think about what's going on and then talk about it. Be open about it, be upfront, put it out there and have a conversation and then do something to change it. Do
yeah,
something to make it better. Do something to get out of a rut that might not have noticed before. And so yeah, I think that's huge that it says that yeah, we're just going along with it. Everything's good and oh no, that's fine. We can get away with that or we can do that. Maybe not. And maybe have a conversation about it and maybe do something about it.
yeah.
That's I think a big thing, but
And this was like, I mean, that whole section was, I'd say it doubled as my tearful moment because, like, as I was reading what was happening, I was just so sad about it. Like, even the moment where the husband throws his concubine basically out to these guys to be assaulted, and like clearly he's not right either. Like that's not the
yeah,
right place either. But then he goes to seek retribution for all of these bad things that happened. But he was also living a bad life. And I was just I guess I was just very struck by those moments in our lives where we can't see our sin for what it is because we're just so used to it,
yeah,
and it's not till it gets really bad that we're kind of, you know,
yeah.
slapped in the face with it. So, I mean, it really comes down to, and not just our own sin, but people around us. Who's going to speak up before it gets
Yeah.
really bad?
Well, and that's I mean, we can very easily just sit in it and we can talk ourselves into anything. I mean, it's really simple. When we want to take control of a situation and we want to do it our way, we can convince ourselves that it's the right way for whatever reasons. And it's like, okay, wait a second. Are we really thinking about it? Are we bringing God into it? Are we putting God at the center of it? And are we bringing people around us that will also look at it from that perspective? Or are we just, we're talking ourselves into it? We're bringing other people around us that are going to tell us the exact same thing we're thinking
Yeah.
to make it seem okay. And just sub note, as this conversation is going on, it is starting to snow. That is like snow. It was sunny when I came out, and now there is like snow falling.
The chill of the conversation.
I guess so. You took us to a dark place, Anna.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
That's all I have. That's where I'm ending.
We're ending with snow. Hey,
Yeah.
that'll take us right into Good Friday tomorrow, and you know a lot of bad things happen, but we have to remember Sunday's coming. Sunday's coming, so
Yeah.
that works out. So, yeah, I think that was good. I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm still excited, even though you ended on that note. I'm excited where it's going to take us.
Yeah. So next step, are you going to speak up?
Yeah. Once again,
Yeah.
the prophetic words: check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's.
That applies. I mean,
I think.
is
I
it
think that was
prophetic?
one
I
of.
don't know
Yeah,
that it is.
I think that was one of Samuel's flawless
Do you think that's
statements.
one of? It's in there. So it's in the
Yeah, yeah.
unwritten prophecies.
Maybe that's the Message version. Maybe
Yeah. If that shows up, please tell me. I would love to know that.
I will highlight it.
Okay, so thank you for listening to What Now with Ann and Eric. Fairly normal people talking about the Bible. If you have any questions or things that you're like, man, I'm just struggling to understand what's going on, message us, social media. We would love to hear that.
Fan questions is my favorite. Just so we remember that fan questions is still my favorite.
Eric loves it.
I do.
So I'm Anna.
I'm Eric.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.